Horror movies make our hearts race, our palms sweat, and sometimes we think to ourselves, why am I watching this? But the real question is, what does it say about you if you enjoy watching them? So that's what I'm going to do today. It's basically just dive into the psychology of horror movies, explore what your love for them really reveals about you and your mind. Quick disclaimer, I am not a practicing psychologist. I do have a degree in psychology and been studying it for over 10 years, including neuroscience, so this is just my educated opinion. Wanted to get that out of the way. It might seem at times counterintuitive, why would anyone enjoy being scared? But if you're a horror fan, you know there's more to it than just fear. There are many psychological studies that are pretty robust that suggest the answer lies deep in our brains, where fear and pleasure sometimes intertwine. When you watch a horror movie, your brain releases adrenaline, the same hormone that kicks in during a real-life threat. This adrenaline rush triggers the fight or flight response, heightening your senses and making you kind of hyper-aware. But the thing is, you're in a controlled environment, like your living room or a movie theater. Your brain also releases the feel-good chemical dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that communicates messages across different parts of the body and basically carries the pleasurable feeling similar to those imparted by endorphins. There is a study that was published in 2018 that suggests exposure to dopamine over time actually decreases our reaction to fear. It's kind of weird the fact that we get dopamine from horror movies, but hey, we do. This combination of adrenaline and dopamine creates a unique experience. You get the thrill of fear, but also the satisfaction of knowing you're safe. It's like riding a roller coaster. You're scared, but you also love the rush. Neurologically, this explains why some people are drawn to horror. Their brains are wired to find pleasure in that perfect mix of fear and safety. Many sociologists who study fear explain that some people are high sensation seekers. These individuals crave intense experience, and horror movies provides just that. If you're someone who enjoys these films, you might be the type who loves pushing your limits, whether that's through horror, extreme sports, or basically any other adrenaline-fueled activities. But that's not for everyone. Sometimes it's not about the thrill. The type of horror you prefer can also reveal a lot about your personality. For example, fans of supernatural horror might be fascinated by the unknown, what lies beyond the physical world. Those who prefer psychological horror might be drawn to the exploration of the mind, enjoying the complexity of characters who face inner demons as much as external ones. Horror films allow us to explore topics that we don't always deem sociably acceptable: death, fear, madness. Watching these movies gives us a space to confront these darker parts of human nature safely and without judgment. It's a form of emotional release, a way to explore fears and anxiety in a controlled environment. Interestingly enough, some studies have shown that people who enjoy horror films tend to have higher levels of empathy. There was an outdated study that said people who like horror films have low empathy. Well, luckily, there's been a new study at the University of Chicago that interestingly shows that people who enjoy horror films usually tend to have higher levels of empathy. Now, this could be skewed to a little bit more of cognitive empathy versus affective empathy. So cognitive just meaning you can basically understand what people are going through, whereas affective is you can really feel what people are going through. But either way, why would we have higher levels of empathy? Well, because these movies often put us in the shoes of the characters, forcing us to experience their fear, their desperation, and their will to survive. It's a paradox. While horror movies can desensitize us to violence, they can also deepen our empathy by making us feel the terror and pain of others. According to other research, horror fans might also be better at coping with real-life fear and anxiety. The theory is that by repeatedly exposing yourself to fictional fear, you become better at managing your emotions in real-world stressful situations. In a way, horror movies basically train our brain to handle fear more effectively. So what does your love for horror movie really say about you? It might suggest that you're a thrill seeker. It might say you're someone who enjoys pushing boundaries and experiencing life to its fullest. It could also mean you have a strong sense of empathy and drawn to the emotional intensity that horror films provide. Or maybe it's just about control or about confronting your fears in a way that lets you walk away unscathed, stronger, and basically better for facing it. In the end, horror movies offer more than just scares. They offer insight into our human condition, into how we deal with fear, and what that says about us. So next time someone asks you why you love horror, just tell them it's because you're in touch with your emotions. You enjoy a good adrenaline rush. Or maybe you just want to be better equipped to handle a crazy situation that life throws your way. Either way, never be ashamed by it. Wear it as a badge of honor. If you enjoyed this exploration into the psychology of horror, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, you gotta tell me what your favorite horror movie is, and what does it say about you. If you enjoyed videos like this, I'd love to do more, especially explore more of the 80s horror like Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, maybe analyzing those specific characters. If that's something you want to see, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.